It's Black Prophet here. And if you are somebody that struggles with mixing vocals, which pretty much every audio engineer, every music producer, every artist does, then this is the video for you. I'm going to at least go through this process in which I show how I do my vocal chain. Before we get into that, go ahead and press subscribe at the bottom of this video. Please press subscribe. It just lets me know that I'm on the right track, that I'm doing the right things and having the right ideas, sharing the right material. It also lets YouTube know it so that way they can promote it and give other people the material. It's much appreciated, much appreciated. Also, another way you can do that is by like, comment, and share this video. So let's go ahead and get into it. First off, I want to say, am I the best? I am not the best audio engineer nor a producer, but I don't think anyone's technically the best. I think the reason why, because the best is so finite, it means that nobody else will ever do it as good as you, and that's just not true. We have all of eternity, right? Until Jesus comes back. So until that happens, and there's just so many processes that are just coming along and improving audio. But what I mean by that is that there's so much to learn. I think with all of the new processes that are coming out, all of the new systems, everything that is so new and available with the technology, it would be foolish and it would be arrogant to just say I'm the best. But am I good at it? I believe I'm really good at it. And I believe also that, you know, my belief is not unbased. It comes from the fact that other people have told me that I'm good at it. But let's go ahead and just listen to the production and let it speak for itself. This is a song called Momentum. It is something that should be dropping in this spring. Currently February 4th. I'm saying hi to my haters, so I'm 23. I'm where you said that I wouldn't be. Now you wipe your eye cause you couldn't see. Guys making moves just for the team. I used to stress and have doubts. I'm the new wave, but now I surf in the crowd. Shouting, I am not loud. My God saying, there you go. While getting up early, morning and night. I'm getting sturdy while waiting for flights. Going real far, packing real light. But what about God? Kept faith in the night. Got visions of winning while doing my dance. I'm not gonna quit, I'm not losing this chance. I swear I can see it, the saints in the stand. Bet. So here we go. Boom. Bet. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and get into it. I just wanted to, my computer is starting to do what my computer does. So I'm probably going to need a new one soon. I'm actually not going to go to the actual volume. What I am going to go to is I'm going to take a lot of compression off and I'm going to regain it by, it was at 3.5. I'm gonna put it at 3.4. Boom. I'm gonna add some more. I'm gonna add some more super verb to this. Okay. Cool beans. That was my quick mix. I wanted to add some other things, but let's go ahead and get into my vocal chain. So, ladies and gentlemen, first thing you'll see, this is my main vocal. I do an Atlanta drop system based off of what my friend Curtis, aka Martiste, another dope artist. Go ahead and check him out. He's available on YouTube, on all platforms. He does have a YouTube channel as well. So that's all platforms, right? So it's Martiste. Go ahead and check him out. But what you'll see is that I have a gain plugin. I have my EQ. I have a de-esser, a compressor. Then I go ahead and compress. I re-brighten up what I do, and then I compress it again. This is where the magic happens. So let me go in here. First thing I do, I make sure I have headroom, and I gain stage. So all of these are gain staged. You look at the beat. Another way to mix vocals that's really important that I forget to like actually talk about, and I didn't do in another take of this video, is what is mixing, right? Some people just think mixing is the leveling, it's the EQing, it's the compression, it's all of it combined. But if I were to say anything in one word, mixing is another word. Another word for mixing is balancing. So if I cut from here, if my vocal is supposed to be the most upfront thing, I don't want to cut too much from my beat, not too much, right? Because then it'll darken my beat. It'll make it sound a bit heavy. It's not going to be as bright. And I don't want to take that too much of the air, especially since it's an airy track. But I do want to carve a bit out from here, maybe even a use of my dynamic range on this, because of the fact that this is where, for me particularly, this is where my air is coming. This is where my intelligible language is coming in. So if I were to go and if I were to cue right here, matter of fact, let's solo this.
I'm saying hi to my haters, so I'm 23. Now you wipe your eye because you couldn't see.
Listen.
Now while surfing the...
So in this area is pretty much where my intelligible language is. So why would I want to make sure that the intelligible sounds of the wave come in. So when I'm cutting my beat, right? When I go to my beat, there's a few things that I want to do. I want to carve out just a little bit of where most of my s and t are going to be. So that way it just right here off the rip, just from the beat alone, I have a place for my vocal to rest. Now I could also darken down here where my fundamental vocal sound wave is in my voice, at least for this song. I could cut right here, make a slight cut, not too deep, because you'll hear it, and we can actually just hear it right now. Let's give it a try.
Black Prophet.
I'm saying hi to my haters, so I'm 23. I'm where you said that I wouldn't be. Now you wipe your eye cause you couldn't see. Guys making moves just for the team. I used to stress and have doubts. I'm the new wave, but now I'm surfing the crowd, shouting I am not loud. My God saying there you go. While getting up early, morning and night, I'm getting sturdy while waiting for flights. Going real far, packing real light. With water by God, kept faith in the night. Visions of winning while doing my dance. I'm not gonna quit.
Now the reason why I don't want to do that is because, bro, I already have, man. I don't want a permanent cut. You feel me? I don't want a permanent cut on the beat. What I much prefer to do is put a sidechain on it. Now, some people are like, oh, sidechain's lazy. Oh. No. Bro, the sidechain is necessary. So let's look at it.
Just for the team. I used to stress and have doubts. I'm the new wave, but now I'm surfing the crowd, shouting I am not loud. My God saying there you go. While getting up early, morning and night, I'm getting sturdy while waiting for flights. Going real far, packing real light. With water by God, kept faith in the night. Visions of winning while doing my dance. I'm not gonna quit, I'm not losing this chance. I swear I can see it, the saints in the stands. I focus.
I know my computer's whatever. We already went over this.
Focus, I hustle so that in the end.
Momentum, yeah, momentum, why would I lose momentum, as long as I just work, hard, momentum.
Bet. Boom, boom. I want to hear it. So I'm kind of doing some mixing at the same time, just so that you get the real understanding of what is going on.
Momentum.
Boom.
Momentum.
Bet. So you got your auto tune, all that good stuff that you might want to do. That's per taste. It's just whatever you might be want to do for that particular time, right? I've recently found out that, which is crazy, I don't have to have this auto tune, right? I could turn this auto tune off because Antares has it's the throat, which actually changes the format of your actual sound of the recording, so it can literally sound like a different person, bro. I think that is dope. Momentum, 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 momentum. So if I took this off, I'm gonna bring it right here.
It's momentum, 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 momentum. Why would I lose? Momentum, 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 momentum. As long as I just work.
So let's get back to the thing. When I go here, I look at, this is what I want to show you again. Besides the throat thing, pause, you go ahead, and you'll see that on my fundamental frequency,
I'm saying hi to my haters.
it's right. My fundamental frequency is right here, right? So the lowest, what I mean by my fundamental frequency is that the lowest frequency or frequency band width is around 234 hertz. So I take that, I not Google it. I take that and I boost the octaves. I have so much air here on my basic just to bring about more clarity. It doesn't matter. I want to add as much clarity as I can, as much detail as I can, and air, because I add a de-esser right here around negative 15 decibels. So it still rolls off about 15 decibels of brightness from this particular frequency. So then after I go into that, I give it a nice hard compression about 4, which is pretty hard. And the other thing that I did was go over a video, and then another one of my videos, I want you to go back and check that out. I go over compression. Everything, music is actually melody and rhythm. Rhythm is time, melody is pitch. So when you think about melody, and pitch, you're thinking about frequencies. If you're thinking about rhythm, you're thinking about time. And so what does that mean? It means that when you're mixing your vocals, these are the little details that you think about when you want to think about, hey, what am I doing with this compressor, right? The threshold is when it happens. The attack is how long after my foot hits the door, how long will it take before I actually open it? And then after it opens, how long does it stay open? Actually, excuse me. It's actually the other way around. It's not open. That's the gate. This is closed. So boom, the signal gets through. 13 milliseconds after the signal gets through, it clamps down. How long does it stay clamped down for? After you clamp down, how much are we making back up? All right. Gates, they're compressors that just work in the opposite form. All right. Cool. Now, I have a hard compression, so if you look, I don't really.
Psalm 23.
I just want it to be able to make sure it doesn't go past a certain place, a certain point, right? So it's very soft compression. But then I come here and what am I doing here? Now I want to be able to reduce for whatever reason. I don't know why. I can say that I don't know why, but somewhere about cutting at the 800 to 1,000 area, frequency area, you end up just kind of letting your voice sink better into the beat. It's something about it. And I actually don't know why. It was something that I learned from, not Wayne, I think it's Wayne Wave. I can't remember who. But it was a trick that I learned of scrolling through social media. I tried it and it worked. I was like, oh, that's crazy. But one thing that doesn't happen is that it doesn't happen so much on this vocal. It happens when you do it on the master. So you have to go ahead and do it on the master, right? Cool. Let's continue. You see that I have so I add a bit more warmth, I add a bit more earth, and then I add some more air, because what you do when you cut before an EQ, when you EQ before a compressor, what the compressor does is kind of solidify that, it glues it back together. When you EQ after a compressor, it brightens it up. So I did my cuts. I tightened it back up. I ended up then brightening it, and I tightened back up that new brightness, but lightly. So now it's a nice little bundle. And I did that for both of my vocals. I add as much detail because what I noticed from radio ready stuff, y'all, this is it. Radio ready stuff. It's all of these, like, it all comes down to the brightness in the air. It's so crisp. That crispness comes from the high end. So if you wanting to be able to have a better sounding vocal where it's actually sounding, your mixes are sounding a bit more professional, I found out that you need to add more air. Even in your lo-fi tracks, there's still a certain degree of air. It's just not as much air as what they say, which is just high end. There's just not as much air in it, but it's still there. You can't get rid of the air in your track. It always falls flat. No air, it's flat. Literally. All right. So you have that, but this is where the details get to. This is where it's dope. This is partly just vocal specifically, but partly like overall. The main thing you want to do is make sure that I said this in another video, have all your things be in the same space. So even though I have the actual stems for this, I mixed on a 2-track because sometimes I recorded on a 2-track because sometimes the processing is a bit too much for my computer to do all of the stems that I have for this particular beat and then put my vocals on top of it. It just ends up being a lot, especially with all of these stacks, right? So I ended up going ahead, and what I ended up doing is, like, yes, there's reverb in this, but then I add with whatever the reverb I made for here, a super verb and a very tight verb. I made sure to add that into it so that way it can sound like it's all in the same room. Then what you see it in this particular send with the reverb and every send that you'll see, it gets sent to another send, it gets sent to another send, part of the signal. It's another very quick attack ambient reverb. And that just puts everything in the same place. That makes it so that I can have about 10 different reverbs if I really wanted to for 10 different sounds. But it all sounds together because of when I put it, they all get sent to the same reverb. So when I look at my vocal, I try to keep it basic. I put my auto tune right before I compress it. I also make sure my vocals are wide. I put it on a box comp for whatever this particular EQ and Logic Pro X makes it so that way, man, it just adds some harmonic distortion in it, some warmth and some character. They have a tube. This one mimics a tube. The Silky is the tube. Then they have the console. They all just mimic like real live analog gear, and I think it's beautiful that Logic does that. It's one of my favorite reasons why I love this DAW. I'm nothing against FL. To me, it's just harder to learn. It's my secondary DAW. I think everyone has a certain bias towards the whatever DAW they started learning in, and for me it was Logic, and I learned Pro Tools as well. So I do really like Pro Tools with the zero latency. It's fire. But these are all the things that I really think are super important. You need to have a basic, not too many compressors. When I look at this final compressor, look at it. It's a 2.5 really, and it's a very light compression. When I want to glue things together, I don't need heavy ratio. I do light ratio, and I do maybe an earlier threshold. If I want to be able to kind of put a limit and tighten, but like make sure I want better control on that signal, then I make sure to put a bit of a higher ratio with an earlier threshold. And I went back to say, this brings me back to my whole rhythm thing. There's this, if you look really quickly, I'll click over to here. You look really quickly, this is a website that you can look at. I have my BPM at 147. I come over here, 140, and I put in 147. I put in my BPM. Bang, right? It gives me my reverb times. So if I want a hall, I can put a hall. I could just copy and paste it and put it into my reverb. And I went over this before, like Chromaverb does this for you already. It says how many bars that is. So what does that mean? If the syncopation of my track, let's say, saying hi to my haters, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So the syncopation of my track is around an eighth note. So I want to make sure that my release is no longer than an eighth of a note for the most part. Because then I'll overcompress as opposed to 23, as opposed to 1, 2, 3, 4. Saying hi to my haters. So I'm 23 and I'm then I want to make sure my compression is bouncing in the syncopation and the rhythm of the actual song. I hope that makes sense. So you need to make sure, and it also lets you know, hey, if I want to be able to control the signal a bit better, I can do an earlier attack. So you can actually see what a quick attack is. You can see a bit what a longer attack is. If my vocal is going around 130, if I'm speaking and then I want to make sure there's certain syllables, because that's what you want to do, it's like, boom, every syllable, every word that's coming out, I get this part that the attack of my word comes out, then it gets squished. How fast do I speak? What is it? It's all of these things right here. Typically, this right here, I would say about right here is a bit of a longer attack. This is about a longer attack. I probably wouldn't do anything longer than a 30-second note, because this is super long. This is wild long. I miss a whole bar before it activates, right? You want to be able to keep the signal controlled, but also being able to make sure it's in rhythm and in time. So that's compression. But when I come here, you see that I have a A1, a vocal specifically for my main vocal, not a vocal, an effect specifically for my main vocal, another effect for my main vocal, and we're going back to this idea of balancing and a mix. Cool. When I have this one, if you open it up, I have a pretty quick attack. I have a pretty quick decay compared. So at a half of a bar compared to my superverb, which is, if you look at 1607, it's about 1 bar. Is it exactly in time? No worries. Let me fix that. I think that's actually because of it's fine. All right. So when I look at my superverb, there you go. That's what I have. All right. 147. All right, cool. And make sure I got the total reverb time. I have to do the total reverb time because this one unfortunately doesn't allow you. Pro R doesn't allow you to set your your onset. It doesn't let you set, what was it called right here? My pre-delay. All right. It doesn't allow me to do that. So I have to be able to put it in the total reverb time. So what do I have? I have a large room that does about 1 bar that holds about 1 bar, thinking about the syncopation of my track. 1 bar, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. There we go. That's my extra rhythm that I need. That wha, wha, wha is essentially what is happening every time I'm speaking. the reverb stays and doesn't diminish until a 4 count. So there we go. I don't know why I felt the need to put on my hoodie, but I just wanted to. All right. That adds crispness. So now if I open this up, my decay and my highs is really rather quick. So it's not quick. It's not too harsh. But I also made sure what actually hits the reverb, what actually hits the processor is more highs, more mids, less dark, less of my lows. So it's because lows give their and a reverb makes it sound really boomy, but the brightness is super great. It's really good. And so that being around for only a half of a bar, 1, 2, 1 and 2. That's every time I speak is 1 and 2, 1 and 2. So let's actually see if we can give it a try.
Now you wipe your eye because you couldn't see.
Super quick compared to this.
Now you wipe your eye because you couldn't see.
Now you can't hear it much because what is this at? This is at 49. And the reason why, but you still should hear it. Listen.
Now you wipe your eye because you couldn't see.
That's when it just stopped. It was low. But why? Because when you look at my stacks, guess what? My reverb, my superverb, super high. 21, negative 21. Let's listen to this. This is a stack. This is my vocal stack.
Just for the team. Stress to have doubts.
Hear that?
How to my haters. How to my haters.
Now it's gone. It stayed around for a while, right? Compared to, and there's more of this. I'm going to get to that in a bit. Why is there more of this reverb than it would be the chroma reverb or the A1 effects? And there's still some in there, but
23. Wouldn't be.
I don't mind this because I balanced it out so that way this one is under this and it only activates every so other word, which makes it actually just sound like way better effects wise. But if I want to just have my regular single vocal, that might be a little different with how, depending on the vibe you're going for. But I don't, because there's so much sauce on the on the stack, I don't need a lot of like long lasting effects. I don't need it. And my vocal's already up front. I don't need more. So here we go. And so I have more of my sauce on my main vocal, but I want it to be so that way my vocal's so up front and present, because what reverb will wash out your actual vocals. I actually just made it so that way there's not so much effects on my main vocal. It's not dry. It's definitely not dry, right? But compared to my ad-libs, which get down to 20, 24, or my stacks, which get to 21, 16, it doesn't have nearly as much. I believe that this is what actually brings your vocal together. But let me go ahead and say, if there was nothing else that you got from this video, make sure that your mix, your vocals, have that brightness. Because if I were to go and make a vocal and it doesn't, it's more just my lower end, there would have to be, it would just sound like I'm in another room. And people really wouldn't understand what I'm saying. Same way you couldn't really understand what someone's talking about in another room. So this is my approach to vocals. If you found this helpful, please just drop a comment. Go ahead also, if there's anything else that you would like to see my approach on, like whether it be how to mix a bass, which I feel like I've been told I mix a good bass. I do great with drums. The kicks, because I'm a drummer myself, so I know what it wants to sound like, and I want to I know how to. If you were struggling to get your kick to come through the mix or even feel it, then I'm definitely that person. And if that's something you want me to make a video on, go ahead and drop a comment for that. Or my approach to making beats. How can I make beats? How can you make beats? I want to be able to start making videos for kind of like lessons in that regard too. I hope, man, that this has been helpful. Again, please, again, subscribe if this was helpful to you. Like, comment, and share, and peace. Let me go ahead and say, if there was nothing else that you got from this video, make sure that your mix, your vocals, have that brightness. Because if I were to go and make a vocal and it doesn't, it's more just my lower end, there would have to be, it would just sound like I'm in another room. And people really wouldn't understand what I'm saying. Same way you couldn't really understand what someone's talking about in another room. So this is my approach to vocals. If you found this helpful, please just drop a comment. Go ahead. Also, if there's anything else that you would like to see my approach on, like whether it be how to mix a bass, which I feel like I've been told I mix a good bass. I do great with drums, the kicks, because I'm a drummer myself, so I know what it wants to sound like, and I want to I know how to. If you were struggling to get your kick to come through the mix or even feel it, then I'm definitely that person. And if that's something you want me to make a video on, go ahead and drop a comment for that. Or my approach to making beats. How can I make beats? How can you make beats? I want to be able to start making videos for kind of like lessons in that regard too. I hope, man, that this has been helpful. Again, please, again, subscribe if this was helpful to you. Like, comment, and share, and peace.